The safety of America depends on the outcome of the battle in the streets of Baghdad. Osama bin Laden calls this fight the Third World War, and he says that victory for the terrorists in Iraq will mean America's defeat and disgrace forever. If we yield Iraq to men like bin Laden, our enemies will be emboldened. They will gain a new safe haven. They will use Iraq's resources to fuel their extremist movement. We will not allow this to happen. Osama bin Laden and other terrorists are still in hiding. Our message to them is clear. No matter how long it takes, America will find you, and we will bring you to justice.
And I am ready and prepared to take whatever action is necessary. And that in particular refers to Iran. The world is a safer place without these monsters.
Over the last several years, we have consistently taken the fight to terrorists who threaten our country. Thanks to our military and counterterrorism professionals, America is safer.
The world is a safer place.
Safer. Still, we continue to face a terrorist threat. At this moment, the greatest threats come from the Middle East and North Africa, where radical groups exploit grievances for their own gain. We will conduct a systematic campaign of airstrikes against these terrorists. Moreover, I've made it clear that we will hunt down terrorists who threaten our country wherever they are.
No matter how long it takes, America will find you, and we will bring you to justice.
And I am ready and prepared to take whatever action is necessary.
We will hunt down terrorists who threaten our country wherever they are.
If I sat here and told you that you can believe everything coming out of the Trump administration and fake stream media regarding the reported assassination of Qasem Soleimani, the top terrorist general of Iran, at the Baghdad airport on Iraqi soil, hopefully you would look at me and say, Brian, what the hell are you talking about? Why would every sane and rational, include-in person look at me like that and ask me that question? Because we know that for the past 4 decades at least, every administration and every fake stream news network has been controlled by CIA operatives and operates as a propaganda machine. Change my mind.
Under my leadership, America's policy is unambiguous to terrorists who harm or intend to harm any American. We will find you. We will eliminate you.
For 7 years, I have confronted this evolving threat each and every morning in my intelligence briefing. And since the day I took this office, I have authorized U.S. forces to take out terrorists abroad precisely because I know how real the danger is.
Mistakes have been made in Iraq. The worst mistake would be to think that if we pulled out, the terrorists would leave us alone. They will not leave us alone. They will follow us.
As president, my highest and most solemn duty is the defense of our nation and its citizens.
As Commander-in-Chief, I have no greater responsibility than the security of the American people.
We will always protect our diplomats, service members, all Americans, and our allies.
The threat from terrorism is real, but we will overcome it. We will destroy ISIL and any other organization that tries to harm us.
Prior to yesterday, most people hadn't even heard of Qasem Soleimani, just like prior to 9/11, most people hadn't heard of CIA operative Tim Osman. Osama bin Laden. But all of a sudden, somehow, Soleimani had become, quote, the #1 terrorist anywhere in the world.
The #1 terrorist anywhere in the world, Qasem Soleimani.
And the U.S. military, supposedly directed by a puppet of Israel, who says that we should love Jews more and thinks red flag laws are just peachy, while throwing hundreds of billions of dollars more to the military-industrial complex, had issued the order to execute Soleimani.
Last night, at my direction, the United States military successfully executed a flawless precision strike that killed the #1 terrorist anywhere in the world, Qasem Soleimani.
Sounds strangely familiar to Obama's declaration that he directed military operatives to take out Tim Osman. CIA operative Osama bin Laden.
Today, at my direction,
Last night, at my direction,
the United States launched a targeted operation against that compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. A small team of Americans carried out the operation with extraordinary courage and capability. After a firefight, they killed Osama bin Laden and took custody of his body. The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat al-Qaeda.
Supposedly, military intelligence revealed and informed the banker-owned administration that Soleimani was plotting to wreak massive havoc on Americans, including military personnel.
Soleimani was plotting imminent and sinister attacks on American diplomats and military personnel, but we caught him in the act and terminated him.
Now, while Trump's reading his banker-created and approved script there, let me just say that past administrations like this one have taken full advantage of playing the three Hegelian dialectic cards of problem, reaction, solution. They create or manufacture a problem, wait for the fear-based reaction of the unthinking and petrified masses, and then provide the wealth-building, power-grabbing, freedom-snatching solutions of the Zionist banking elite. See, as long as there are profits in war, there will be little incentive for peace. And that's why you're seeing so many people, especially on the left side of the dog and pony show aisle, saying things like Adam Schiff for Brains says right here. Soleimani was responsible for unthinkable violence, and world is better off without him. But Congress didn't authorize, and American people don't want a war with Iran. All steps must now be taken to protect our forces against the most inevitable escalation and increased risk. This is a cunning way of saying, I'm glad we initiated an operation that got rid of Soleimani, but Americans don't want war, but we're going to throw some more money and troops at the Middle East anyway. And this isn't an isolated view from one half-cocked political parasite. In one form or another, in one shade or another, everyone is dutifully reading their lines and involving themselves in their own weapons of mass destruction moment. You remember that. The intelligence community in the early 2000s were convinced that evil dictator Saddam Hussein was plotting to use weapons of mass destruction to unleash terrorism on the planet. So we had to go in there in order to protect democracy. And we had to spread a little democracy of our own while we were there for a long, long time. Fake stream media incessantly try to convince us that there was an evil in the world that the U.S. military had to stamp out. And you remember the Gulf of Tonkin. It was the spark that started the long, raging, costly, and deadly fires of Vietnam. And it turns out that no Vietnamese torpedo boats even came close to harming the USS Maddox. It was all made up to justify foreign intervention on behalf of the bankers. And what about Operation Northwoods, also known as the Cuba Project, where JFK's Joint Chiefs under Nemitzer planned staged attacks in order to justify military intervention in Cuba? Guys, I could go on, but the point is, while we don't know specifics about what's actually going on with the Soleimani attacks, there are a couple things we absolutely do know. All wars are bankers' wars. Mainstream fake stream media has been controlled by the Operation Mockingbird actors of the CIA for decades and is being used as a war machine propaganda outlet. And every administration since at least 1913 has been and is being used by the Zionist international bankers to expand Israeli dominance in the Middle East as they seek to enlarge their scope of supreme power. And speaking of the CIA and how they actually operate in the real world, listen to this and tell me you're going to continue to believe anything that comes out of the mouth of the Secretary of State or the President or any congressional psychopath or fake stream media ever.
When I was a cadet, what's the cadet motto at West Point? You will not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do. I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment. We caught him. and we stopped him. And it's a good thing for the world. He was traveling the region when he landed in Baghdad. The travels before that put him in places all around the region which were aimed solely at building out what they were referring to as the big attack. They were aiming to take down significant amounts of Americans that would have undoubtedly killed locals too, Iraqis, Lebanese, Syrians perhaps, people all throughout the region. This was an attack that would have been at some scale. We can't talk much about the details, but suffice it to say the American people can know that the decision that President Trump made to take Qasem Soleimani down saved American lives.
I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses.
Please take a second to like and share this video with everybody you know, everywhere you can on social media. It's the only way I can overcome YouTube's censorship and suppression algorithms. Also, if you got something out of this video, maybe you'll like these two videos right here. Please take a second and watch and share these as well. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Google Thought Police in the comments section below, and I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.